Star Wars is a franchise chock full of iconography, items, and terms that have made their way into the broader cultural vernacular. Things like the lightsaber, the Jedi, and Stormtrooper armor are all recognizable to even non-fans of the franchise. But amongst the most recognizable things in the franchise is the Death Star, the monolithic, twice-created space station that finds itself subject to not one, but two different rebel attacks. LEGO itself just announced this week that they're releasing a new $1,000 Star Wars kit in October for the Death Star. And I hope people are ready to drop it because few things are more iconic and more emblematic of Star Wars than its destruction. So much so that of the games created in the 80s, many of them centered around said destruction of the Death Star. We've already looked at one in the form of the Star Wars arcade game, and now it's time we return to blow up the Death Star once again. Welcome to Holocron Hoard, a channel with a simple mission to play every Star Wars game ever made and find the best one. Today, we're looking at Star Wars Return of the Jedi Death Star Battle for the Atari 2600 and 5200. We're going to look at its history, its gameplay, its story. Alright, we're not actually going to talk about the story, but we are going to talk about what it's like to play, and most importantly answer, is it good? Is it fun? If you like the video or the concept for the channel, liking and subscribing helps a ton, as does leaving a comment. You can write whatever you want down there. You can write papaya for all I care. It all helps the video get in front of more people who might enjoy it. But enough blabbering on, let's get into the Falcon and go save the galaxy. Return of the Jedi Death Star Battle, developed by Parker Brothers, is a single-stick shoot-'em-up game consisting of two repeating battle phases. You take control of the Millennium Falcon with 5 lives, and spend time using the joystick of the console to move around and the fire button to shoot, destroying TIE interceptors as you wait for a chance to slip through the energy shield defending the under-construction second Death Star. Once you slip through the shield, you briefly enter hyperspace and then emerge much closer to the space station. It's here that the game adds a brick breaker-like element. In addition to avoiding the shots of these still present interceptors, you now also are attempting to break off elements of the Death Star in order to get to the central glowing square symbolizing the vent. Partway through this, you also have the added hiccup of dodging a very annoying green laser, but assuming you make it to the vent, one shot will cause the chain reaction of the Death Star exploding, introducing the new goal of dodging fireballs for as long as possible while your score racks up. When you inevitably get hit, you'll find yourself back to phase 1, before the energy shield. Every 10,000 points gives you a bonus life and adds some additional difficulty in the order of interceptors firing more often, the green laser chasing you faster, the Death Star building quicker, which is important because if it ever fully builds you automatically lose, and the number of openings in the energy shield declining drastically. Like most Atari games, there's also a mode switch with 4 quote-unquote games available. These really just mean whether you're playing 1-player or 2-player, the 2-player mode just has you alternating between who's controlling the Falcon, and between an easy or hard difficulty. Overall, this game is a relatively enjoyable experience. Going between the 2, maybe 2.5 if you include dodging fireballs, different phases adds some good variation to the game. There's also a green Lambda-class shuttle that occasionally flies through for bonus points. The second phase Death Star destruction introduces another plate to spin outside of just shooting the interceptors that adds a degree of difficulty without being overwhelming, and the entire package just feels good to go back and forth on. If I had to complain, I'd say the 2 things that I found frustrating were the prevalence of random deaths. Sometimes an interceptor seems to just spawn on top of you, or so close that you could never really move out of the way in time, which usually resulted in me just immediately slamming the reset button. And the inconsistency with firing distance, I guess, of the Falcon. I could never really tell exactly where or how far my shots were going to go, which was mostly only frustrating in the context of destroying the Death Star, but did occasionally also get me killed. Those are really my only 2 complaints though. Oh, and the audio I found way more annoying than the other Atari games I've played other than Jedi Arena. There's no story here. You're blowing up the final Death Star. You do it over and over again. It's like if Han Solo was caught in Groundhog Day, or I guess actually if like Lando and Nien Nunb were caught in Groundhog Day because it's Return of the Jedi, whatever. I've found going back and playing all these Atari games to be a fun, unique experience across the board. It's always cool to see how far video games have come, and more importantly, how a simple design executed well can stand the test of time. In the case of Death Star Battle, I think the game largely does that. If you took this game today and somehow put it on a phone, I could see myself idly playing it through the day on a commuter train or something, just trying to rack up a quick high score. And if you're like me and can quickly become addicted to getting a good score through repetitive gameplay, this one's gonna hit for you. Is it simple? Yes, but it's good and still fun today. and that's what counts. When I think about it relative to the other games on this list, I have a good idea about where I want to put it, and it's right around Star Wars Arcade. The biggest hiccup for me here is that I think both games are actually probably fairly close in terms of quality. But something I didn't talk about in my review of Arcade, linked on screen now, was that the actual arcade cabinet version of this game actually had better looking vector graphics than what you get in the 2600, which is what I played. Additionally, that version has a really cool sit-in cabinet design, and while I didn't personally get to play that, I can't overlook how awesome that would have been in the 80s, but also just how awesome it would be now. It's just cool. For that reason, cool is gonna win out, and I'm going to put Death Star Battle just below Star Wars Arcade. Is that controversial? Let me know in the comments. Whew. Okay, we're done. I took some time off from this channel over the summer, but man, it feels good to be back, folks. I cannot wait for the lineup of what's to come. I've got more 80s games to check out. I've got some Rogue Squadron to play through. I have a special bonus episode of a secret experience that I'm prepping to release. There's a lot of cool stuff in the pipe. If you made it this far in the video, thank you so much for watching. Be sure to tell me down below if there's a game you'd particularly like me to get around to. Otherwise, just thank you for supporting the channel. It really means a lot to me. And until next time, may the Force be with you.